Savvy Scribe Podcast,
a podcast for healthcare professionals who are interested in starting their own health writing businesses.
I'm Janine, a registered nurse and your host. I'm a labor and delivery nurse, mom to these two incredible boys, wife to my best friend, and owner of two crazy Great Danes. I help nurses discover freelance writing as an extra income opportunity with help from my guests. Join us over on Facebook in the group Savvy Nurse Writer Community or savvynursewriter.com to join our course and membership to create your own profitable writing business.
Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Savvy Scribe Podcast. I'm Janine Kalbach, your host. So happy you're here. If you're new here, welcome. Today's episode is going to be all about how to save time. And I think about time as something that, yeah, we need to save some, but we really need to utilize what we have. And that's what Molly is here to talk to us about today. She is an expert in creating what everyone wants more of, time freedom. And through her methods of intelligent systems, automation, and outsourcing, you'll experience another 10 to 15 hours per week of freedom and flexibility. As the founder of Virtual Assistant Management, which provides trusted virtual assistant solutions and flawless tech execution for busy entrepreneurs, Molly Rose is the go-to for professionals for some of the most successful entrepreneurs and leaders in the financial and personal development industries. Molly Rose is awarded military spouse and solo world traveler who believes in creating business and a life that allows you to do more of what you love. Welcome to the show, Molly. Let's hit record. All right, we should be good to go. So, Molly, welcome. How are you?
Hello, welcome. Doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for being here. And let's start a little bit. Where are you from?
I live in Destin, Florida, in the Panhandle. It's gorgeous.
Oh.
But I grew up in Iowa, so I have
You
a
know
heart
what
for
I'm
both.
feeling here in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yes.
You know what I'm feeling.
Cleveland. Yep. Yep, I do.
Oh
do.
man, can I just come down to Destin?
You
Actually, I'm going
can.
to Florida next month. It's like my seasonal depression trip. Is what
Yep. Those
it's
Midwesterners, we need it. My neighbors across the street
Yes.
are from Cleveland, so I have a soft
Are
spot.
they really?
And they're moving back. I'm like, you're crazy. Crazy. but
Why?
It's home.
What? Why are they moving back? Oh,
It's home.
the only reason I'm here, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, I need to know like what part of Cleveland they're from. Like I need to know it like I know them. Like I feel like I know them now.
You might.
Destin, Florida. Oh man, how beautiful. What's the weather there today? Like 90?
No, it's high 70s. This is like our beautiful
High
time where
Oh.
the spring breakers are on their way, but it's
Yeah, they're coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
Are you by the beach?
I am. I'm like a mile from the beach.
Oh, even better. Even
Yeah,
better. Now,
it's
you're from Iowa. When did you move to Florida?
12 years ago. My
Nice.
husband's active duty military, so followed him here, and that's where everything
Nice.
started. Yeah.
Hey, that's a good place to follow him too.
Yes.
So, all right. So let's get into this a little bit. Tell us like your background. I did a little intro before that you didn't hear, but a little bit about your background. I know you're in virtual assistant world, and did you start in virtual assisting before you started your company? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I graduated college in Iowa. Husband was in pilot training in the military, and he dropped Florida. And I thought, okay, sign me up. Didn't even ask me to move. I just moved. And I have a finance background. So I was a financial analyst at corporations, ended up at a healthcare company in a town in Florida. And I realized really quickly that this wasn't the path that I wanted. I wanted more freedom and flexibility. And this was before working remote was a thing. Asking for an abridged 8 to 5 schedule was just unheard of. And I needed that. So I just quit cold turkey and started a VA company. And I didn't even know what a VA was. So
Did you go off on your own as a VA first and then because it sounds like you have others that you outsource it to now. So,
yeah.
So when did you expand?
So I created a training program about 6 years in. I've been doing this for about 12 years. Yeah, not to date myself, and I kept getting the same questions from people. How do I do what you do? You're traveling the world. You're earning a great income. And I thought to myself, 1-2 Starbucks meetups later, just like having the same conversation. I need to record this. So I created a really quick how to become a virtual assistant that's now turned into a full training academy. So that's what kind of spurred the agency for now
love it.
having place over 200 virtual assistants, and now we provide it as a solution. So it's kind of a one-stop shop to get trained and placed. And I'm really excited.
So you know how to manage time, systems, kind of get things done, which is great. Now,
Yes,
I saw it in your intro too that you're an awarded military spouse. Have you been connected with Laura Briggs ever?
I haven't.
She's
Have
been on
I?
my podcast a few times. She's a
Okay.
freelance writer, and she
Sounds
started something for like military spouses. I just, it was at the top of my head
Yeah,
of
I'll look her up.
someone
It
you should
sounds really
connect with.
familiar, but that's great. Like any type of solution for the military spouse where we can work remote
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
what's needed. So yeah, cool.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think virtual assisting is like one of those areas where it's like you might not know what you want to do yet, but you'll get in there and then go, oh, wow, I really like to help people do this or that
Yeah.
or whatever. What
Yeah.
did you start off with virtual assisting that you either enjoyed or pivoted really quickly?
Haha. Yeah. The one thing that most virtual assistants get asked to do, but strongly dislike, is social media. So
Yes.
my first position was helping two individuals they were doing a student debt documentary, and we were crowdfunding for it. We needed $75,000 to do this documentary. And we're like, what better way than social media? So they hired me to be the manager of this and just, post and get people to donate and do all these launches and things. And I had no idea what I was doing, but I learned really fast. Everything's on YouTube these days, and we raised 80,000. So it was really cool. And the documentary made it to CNBC. So it's like this really cool
That's cool. You did something right. You did something right.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Yes. So that was my first
Wow.
dip my toe. Wow, I can get paid without having like a traditional job kind of feeling.
Yes, kind of that light bulb moment. Like this
Yeah.
I got something here. I could do something like this.
Yeah.
That's
Yes, exactly.
definitely a moment where things kind of change a little bit when
Absolutely.
you
Yeah.
first get money. But did you enjoy that? Did you even enjoy
I
social media?
did. I knew I didn't want to do it, just that for people. I've been doing social media for years.
Yeah.
It's just a part of the service.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. It was just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
For sure. For sure. So today we're going to be talking about how to save 10 to 15 hours a week through outsourcing and systems.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I could dive into the virtual assisting thing all day.
Yeah.
But I want to hear from you. I want to hear
get some
your
tips.
tips and action here. So go take it away.
Yeah. So I preach that there's two great commodities in life, or things that we as Americans make very important. The first one is money, and the second one is time. And I think once we have enough money, we realize that our time is more important. Those of us that become moms or travel a lot for work or have really busy jobs and side hustles, it's like, where did my time go? And we realize we're not even living our life that we want to be doing, or making it to our kids' soccer games, or going on that trip to Europe. So the way to fix that as business owners, or just individuals, is to start outsourcing. And the way technology has advanced, we can do that to systems and automations, and we can do that to people physically. So I can break those down. We can start with, outsourcing to humans. And there's two ways to do that: personally and through business. So on the personal level, if we're overwhelmed, overworked, and giving up our personal lives too much, the detriment of our business or our work, we should be outsourcing as much as we can. So that looks like having a cleaning lady, getting your groceries delivered, planning, meal planning, and then having some dinners out. Like, that's outsourcing how you're eating. I mean, it can be that simple, just kind of taking a look at your time. If you live in Cleveland, your snow removal, your lawn care, of course, that costs money, and you don't have to do all of those things, but just kind of dabbling and getting your feet wet. I know when I first got a cleaning lady, I was like, wow, this is 4 hours of my time, 8 hours a month that I can be productive and bill hourly, and I can pay her to clean, which she's much better at, and that feels good to me. Done. That kind of mentality.
And I like that. That's exactly what I did first, was outsource in my home. And
yes,
you have to really think like, what things can you get rid of that you don't have control over, like that you're not obsessed with? Like,
yeah,
my laundry, I'm not obsessed with my laundry. I just would hate to give that to somebody. So I'm like, well, I'll do my own laundry.
yeah,
But the cleaning. Yeah, someone else do that. I hate it.
Yeah.
And like even swapping childcare is something where
There.
you could do like free stuff. Um, this one, I don't know if you're familiar with Laura Vanderkam. She wrote the book 168 Hours, like
Yes.
how much time it's 160 hours, something like that. And she has like 7 kids. And in one of her books, she wrote that she would go to the gym, and at the gym they had free childcare for 2 hours. And she's like, my workout only took me 30 minutes. And all these moms would run to the gym to pick up their kids, and off they go. And she goes, I'd go get a cup of coffee and then I'd
Yeah.
write. And that's what I wanted to do. And that's outsourcing. She's paying for the gym membership
Yeah.
anyway. And it's getting that like little bit off of you, but you're not paying for it for extra. So I think about those kind of things. Like what's like a very simple solution that's very affordable, especially if you're not making a lot of money yet. And there's that
That's
right there.
great.
And grocery delivery, perfect. I think
Yeah.
everybody got on that during COVID.
Target drive up pickup. I mean, not
Oh,
only does that
best thing
save you
ever.
time, but that saves you at least $100 every time you walk into Target and
Just
you're a
walking in
woman.
the store, right? And even like I know like Walmart has free pickup too.
Yeah,
And like Instacart, you pay a little more, but it comes to your house. So there's so many ways to do that, especially this day and age with technology. We're so lucky to have these things. So use them.
absolutely.
If you can
Yeah.
use them to save you money, use them.
Yeah. And then on the personal assistant side, a lot of women, I'd say like mid to late 40s, 50s come to us. Their kids are a little bit more grown or younger, I guess, as they get more successful. CEOs, women in C-suites, and they outsource a lot of their personal life too to
Yes.
virtual assistants. And that's also an option as you scale and grow and your income goes up. We have VAs that order the tutu for the little girl's dance and gets it on the grandparents' schedule or makes dinner reservations or books travel, like some of that personal stuff that's just type A people probably wouldn't go there, but those that are super busy, that's what they need. So
yeah, they call it like the fairy godmother. Like
yeah,
the one who comes in and kind of cleans it all up. And
yes,
ideally it's somebody you get along with and they could like become almost like part of your family, but
yeah,
they're there to help. And
absolutely.
my
Most
friend
people,
Deanna, she lives in Mexico, and we went to visit her last year. And she has a woman who cooks her breakfast and lunch, her and her husband every day. And
yeah,
I'm like, we like watched her, and I'm like, man, this is nice. Like,
yeah,
I don't even
yeah,
think about breakfast and lunch because it's like the simple stuff, but it saves so much time. Like, and she didn't
yeah,
have to do the dishes and just stuff like that. It's you don't realize until like you actually like time audit yourself to
yep,
go, wow, I am wasting a lot of time on little things here and there.
absolutely.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
that's personal. So
yeah.
go ahead. What else?
So then on the business side, I always say, we all started our business or our side hustle or service that we're putting out in the world. And along the way, we didn't realize that we have to actually run the business, which takes like 27 different hats. You have to do marketing and bookkeeping and your website, and your logo needs to be updated everywhere, or you have to book your clients, onboard your clients, deliver the service. I mean, tons of things. That's just high level here. And we get overwhelmed. We start hating that we started this business to be a copywriter, or we just started this business to be a VA, and all of a sudden dislike it. And we're really, really busy doing non-billable hour tasks. So that's when you hit this plateau, if you will, or this like, what do you call it when kids ride? I don't know why the name is like a seesaw.
Yeah, like a seesaw. Yeah.
Thank you. Where you kind of your income gets to a spot where you're like, wow, I need to start outsourcing. My billable hour time is worth way more to me than being able to do the work on the business or work in the business. So outsourcing things like your social media, your inbox management, maybe your onboarding. If you're just delivering the service, all the rest can be outsourced. Travel booking, updating your website, building your website, writing blogs, posting blogs, posting podcast interviews, editing podcasts. I mean, it can go on and on and on and on based on what you do. And what I walk my clients through is, if they're trying to figure out what they need to outsource in their business, is very simple. Just start writing down all the things you do. I mean, I have papers, I do this all the time, of lists of things. And I'm like, wow. And then I come back to it and I circle what I actually needed to do. And the rest should start to be outsourced as you have time to outsource those things and onboard someone new, and you have the means to do so, or you can earn more income doing something else.
Do you remember the first thing you outsourced in your business?
My website.
Your website. Mine was
Yeah.
social media.
Way
Anyway.
back in the day.
Yeah, right.
Social media. I should have been social media.
See?
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think even, like you own your agency, but you need help with that. Like it's like your service of an agency is obviously for business clients, but also your VAs. So you're finding those clients for them to be able to work with. So that's kind of how like my Write RN company is, where it's like content where you don't, as a writer, you don't have to go out and get the jobs. We have the jobs, but you still need more than just Janine to run it, because obviously there's a lot more clients, there's a lot more projects, and that's where it's like, okay, I need help over here too. Like you don't realize until you start to kind of get out there. You're like, oh wow, okay, this is more project management than anything else.
But then you're able to go out and network. Like I go to conferences all the time, or and that's what feeds the pipeline. Yeah.
And I think too, that's where you find out your billable hours. Like, should I be doing this? Can I do it? Yeah. Should I be doing it? Probably not. And I think as a writer, like if you guys are talking about your freelance writing businesses, you should be writing, right? You should be writing, you should be networking, and all the other stuff honestly can be outsourced depending on what you wanted. Like you could even outsource the research for your article if you wanted to. So there's like so many different ways to do it. But like we talked about, I always started with my house because that was easier, because I was just starting my business and I didn't know yet what I needed to outsource. But yeah, that's a good way to go about it too, is like house first and then business, like your list of business stuff, right? And then circle and also look at like, what are you not doing? Because you realize you don't like it. You don't like it at all. That's an easy thing to get rid of.
Or that thing that just keeps moving. I mean, I have things on my list that I've moved for months.
Yes. Exactly.
You need to do this.
Like obviously you don't like it.
Yeah. So then the other thing we were going to talk about is the systems, right? Which I argue start there because it's very, very cost effective. So if you're someone that does discovery calls for your writing business, if you don't have a online scheduler, you're crazy. Like going back and forth in email is painful. And
especially with time zones. Oh my
Lord. Yes. And then you got to remind them, and then they don't show up, and all of that. So, I mean, that's a no-brainer. I think we should all have an online scheduler. If you're doing any type of booking or things like that, you have one. It's great. And so that's so kind of looking at your business and your life as, how can I systematize these things? Some of it is actually a software you can put in place, like a Calendly or Schedule Once, or some of it could be a project management tool like Asana, or that's what I use, Monday or something like that. And those are systems, or an onboarding system like Dubsado or 17 Hats, like just that completely eliminates having to go to the Drive and get the contract and load it into DocuSign and send it. And you're just literally filling in one form and you click buttons and send it away. Like
that's the perfect. It's so nice. It's so nice.
Yeah.
I use ClickUp and HoneyBook.
ClickUp. People love ClickUp. Yeah.
I love ClickUp. It's getting better and better and better every day.
Yes.
And I love the automations. And I use Zapier to even have more automations if you need it. Like there's just so many things that you realize. There was I forget the guy's name. I wish I had it in front of me, but he was talking about how he only works like 6 hours a day. And people are like, oh my God, how do you only work 6 hours a day? He's like a big executive kind of person. And he's like, because there's no reason we should all be working 60 hours a week or even 40 hours a week. He's like, because technology is so advanced that if you should have your systems in place and things in place, that there's no reason to be working that long. We aren't in the 1930s. Like there's no reason for it. There's so much technology. And I'm like, Yeah, he has, yeah, that's true. Like if we use technology as much as we can, why not? It's there.
Yeah.
Use it.
Yeah. And that's such a good point. Isn't it funny that the 40-hour work week is so ingrained in us that if
Yeah.
we're not doing it, we feel like we're not succeeding or even achieving like bare minimum.
I think it's funny too, the ingrained of like weekends off. Like you have to work, never
Yeah.
work a weekend. And I'm like, well, actually, Saturday mornings around here are like the chillest time, and my kids will sleep in. I'm gonna work Saturday mornings if I want to. Like,
Yeah.
who's telling me that I can't do that? Like,
Yeah.
and if I want to take off a Wednesday, I'm taking off a Wednesday. Like, that's
Yes.
what I'm gonna
That's the
do.
beauty. Yeah.
Yeah,
Love it.
and that's the thing. Like if you have great systems in place, if you have like a to-do list that's prioritized and you know what to get done, there's no reason you should be in an office for 60 hours a week or something
No,
crazy.
no.
Now, bedside nursing, that's a different story. That you're chained to the hospital
You sure
till for
are.
12
Yeah.
hours. Like it's
Yes.
that's
But the
what sticks.
beauty, I love my nurse friends for so many reasons. And I always tell them, I'm like, you're so lucky when they're like, I want to do what you do, flexibility and all this. And I said, but for the most part, you go to work, you do your job, you love it. Most of my friends, and
Yeah,
then you come home and you're
you're
done.
done. Yeah.
No one's emailing
Unless
you.
you go into management and then everything
Yeah.
follows you and
Yeah.
all that crap. But if
Yeah.
you're typically bedside nurse, you're right.
Yeah.
And there's been times and I'm like, why am I doing this? I just go back to the bedside, get my consistent paycheck. It's so much easier. Like, blah, blah. But then I get pulled back this way because I'm like, no, there's
Yeah. This is what you
many
want.
reasons I do this. And
Yeah.
that flexibility is definitely part of it. But even like I went away with a few girlfriends that are still nurses at bedside. And I had to like check in on business stuff like while we were gone because my business isn't to a point that I can't check in every day.
Same.
I
Yeah.
have to. And they're like, "What are you doing?" Like they're making fun of me, right? "What are you
Yeah.
doing? You always have to check in." And I'm like, "I have to. Like this is my job." Like you guys don't realize it, but it's okay. It's okay. All
Yeah.
right, I get it.
Yeah. I'm still here.
Still here.
Yeah.
It
Totally can
wasn't like
relate.
hours. I mean, it was literally like 30 minutes. I was like, I
Yeah.
just have to check in. It's all good. But
Yes.
even like vacations, like I can't take a week off of the business yet. You know, eventually maybe, but I would be very uncomfortable doing that right now.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that's good.
So what kind of systems you use Asana, but what go a little bit deeper with that. Like, how does it flow your day? How, like, maybe what does a day kind of look like for you using
Yeah.
systems?
Yeah. So, a few things I want to talk about. So, your inbox. So, yesterday I hit inbox 0, and every time I
I
do
saw
a
it on your
post,
Instagram.
like sometimes happens. It
So
can
proud of you.
happen though. I got so many messages. But like, how do you do this? And I would argue that it's a system that I have in place to be able to do this, and I do it for my clients. So let's just break that down, for example.
Yeah.
So there's a way to organize your Gmail account where it shows up in buckets on your main screen. And so there's things that are money making that go here, things that are client work, and then there's everything else, for example. And so when emails come in, I have a rule. If I read them, I have to answer them because email should take a few minutes to answer.
Yeah.
If you're overthinking it, or that's really important. I never answer questions with questions if I don't have to. I
like that.
close the
Yeah.
loop. I don't send emails if I don't need to. Like I've received it. I don't need to verify that I've received it. And I notice people doing this. I'm like, wow, this is creating
Thank you.
time. Yeah. Watch your CC lines, like who is all on this, like just little stuff that you just start this etiquette and then you'll start picking it up for yourself. And then when I do sit down to do email, I'm a big time blocker. So this kind of goes into email and just task management. But so I work in sprints. This isn't a new concept. People talk about this. But your brain can only really focus for 90 minutes at a time. Some argue 75 minutes. And so I set my timer, I turn off everything and just do email until it's done, or my 90-minute timer goes off, or I just work on this specific client thing. So that's just, to me, it's a system throughout my day. So I can get 4 sprints in one day, grab a lunch in between, or probably realistically more like 3.
Yeah.
And so those are 2 things that I think I do pretty well. And then when it comes to Asana, So I use Asana to run meetings. I use it to converse with anyone on my teams. I use it to track every client project. And the big thing here, again, not a novel concept, is that I'm using one system. I don't have a planner, a Google Calendar, Asana, and Slack all running at the same time. Everything goes in one digital thing. So if I'm on a plane with my iPad, or I'm sitting at my desk, or sitting at Target parking lot with my phone, I can have access to that.
Right.
And that's just like, when I say have access, it's like, oh, I got to do this. Get it in there. Got to get it in there. Get it in there. And that just creates a place for it. So you're not always having to remember this, because that makes you exhausted. That's how you wake up at 3 a.m. with all these things in your head that you have to do.
And it's a hard concept to start. Like, it took me a little bit to go, okay, I need to get this done. I go to a piece of paper and I start writing it. I'm like, stop it, Janine. Put it
Yeah.
in ClickUp.
ClickUp.
Put it,
Yeah.
don't even write it down. And now it's like I have ClickUp's wonderful. I do use my Google Calendar for, like, I knew this meeting, it's in
Yeah.
ClickUp to say there's a meeting with Molly, but then I also have it in Google Calendar, so it blocks the time for my scheduler. So there's certain things I put in there, but I don't put client deadlines in my Google Calendar. I don't put anything like that. That's all in ClickUp. It has to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And that's the only way, like, my calendar looks halfway decent. Even then it looks a little cuckoo.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but yeah, I like that you're, and back to Gmail for a minute. There's so many, if you guys just look, like, you go to YouTube and just search, like, organization of Gmail. There's different ways that people will tell you, like, how to label things and how to set rules and
Yeah.
forward things if you want. And there's so many different things that you could do via email. And
Yeah.
actually within ClickUp, I can respond to email, which is probably my favorite thing that they
Mm.
have, because I never have to be in my inbox. And I also, you probably do this too, in, like, the sprint is, I only check my email a couple times a day,
Yes. Good point.
because it's, I mean, is it open right now? Yes, it's open right now, but I don't look at it. I try not to look at it.
Yeah.
But if I sit here and look, like, it, I'll respond to everything, like, if it's
Real
just there.
time.
And it's stupid to do that. Like, nobody's waiting on it. Nothing is that much of an emergency for me to respond that quickly.
Yeah.
But the other thing I do is I don't check email when I wake up in the morning. I actually
Yes.
try to get that deep work done before I even dive into my inbox, because, or my notifications on ClickUp, because, again, it's super early in the morning. None of my clients are at their desk yet. And if they sent me something, it was probably after I was done yesterday. So, like, again, they don't need a response immediately. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's just like little things you have to put in place, or it will time consume your life. And then you're like, at the end of the day, like, what did I even get done? Because I was bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, such good points. And two more to add. One, when you respond right away, you set the precedence that
Oh yeah, the boundary there.
and then
Yes.
two, the other tool, you mentioned several that I totally agree with, but also canned responses. I can't even fathom not having them, because I get
Yes.
quite a few of the same questions. So this Gmail allows you to have canned responses. Google it. It's really easy to find. And it saves so much time.
So much time.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So these are just little things. And if you have these systems, the key is to use them, right? We
Yeah.
kind of mentioned that in a roundabout way, but I think that's, especially if you have a team.
Yeah. And if you don't have a team yet, put it in place to use it for yourself,
Yes.
because later on, when you do have a team or you add a virtual assistant, you already have it in place. And honestly, this is one thing to get in the habit of too, especially if you're thinking eventually to bring someone on to help you. Document everything you're doing, because you have to train them eventually, and you want to make sure you have, like, a standard procedure, like, in place to make it easy for onboarding team members, because that could be tough
Absolutely.
too.
Yeah. And do it before you need it. Because
Yeah. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
when you go to hire, you're probably stressed out and overwhelmed. That's probably why you're hiring someone. So if you do it now, then it's ready for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it probably isn't an issue for your audience because they're writers. But if you aren't a fan of the written word, you can also screen record using something like Loom. So I just
Yeah.
have all these decks. So that's
Yeah.
good too. Yeah.
I do both for my assistants. Like, I write out instructions, but then I also do a video, because ClickUp lets you, like, screen record and attach the video right to your task card. So I'm like, well, hey, There's
Yeah.
both ways to do this here. And
Yeah.
eventually I'll just look at the video and say, do I need to update this? Because sometimes that's the other thing I do is go back, when you actually onboard the person to go, is this totally irrelevant? When I
Yeah,
recorded it
absolutely.
2 months ago? Because
Yeah.
things change so fast in this
Completely.
tech world, right?
Yes, very much so.
So what else, you guys? Are there any more tips?
I think the other thing I want to stress, and you mentioned HoneyBook, there's Dubsado, 17 Hats. Does ClickUp do contracts and send things like that? I'm unsure.
No, that's why I use
HoneyBook.
HoneyBook. Yeah. So what she's talking about, you guys, is like a CRM, like something to have for your clients. So I always think like client management
Yeah.
is ClickUp in a sense, like all the projects, but communications with clients I always have in HoneyBook, which also connects to Gmail. So I never again have to go in Gmail. I still do, but I don't know why. I really should have to because I have
Yeah.
HoneyBook and I have ClickUp. So and you can respond and it attaches right to the email. So that's another thing that, saves time, and all your messages are right there. So you're not digging through your inbox wondering, what did they say last? What did they
open it? Have they
Yeah.
seen it?
Yeah.
Did they pay the invoice? And it creates a huge, like the margin of error kind of gets removed because
Yes.
everything's done once. You've read it really, really well, and then you can just replicate it. And there's nothing worse than trying to get a new client and they're waiting for the proposal. I'm actually a fault of this right now. I owe someone a proposal and it's a custom thing. And I'm like, gosh, if this was just ready,
Yes.
and I'm stressed about it. So it just creates this, okay, you get off the discovery call, you're going to have a proposal. They're going to sign it because they're so excited. They don't have time to think. And then you're off to the races. So that's just, it's huge.
Yep. I love it. I love it. So Molly has for our members here a little outsourcing guide that I'm going to share with you guys. But while I share that, is there anything else you wanted to add, Molly?
Other than just, I hope this advice was good and you actually think about it, because I meet so many women primarily that are just getting through. They're just like, and this is a little more philosophical. It's just like, oh, this is how life is. This is how it's supposed to be. And it doesn't. Like there are so many ways to just get more balance back in your life through just simple things that we've talked about. Just outsourcing your groceries, just start there and kind of feel how that feels. And
you don't have to do everything at once.
No.
Just try something.
Yeah.
Just try it. Especially if you're the person saying, I don't have enough time.
Yes.
You're that person. Don't just complain about it. Do something about it. Figure it out. And sometimes it's like delegate to your kids more. Have them do something. Delegate to the husband. Have them do something.
Yeah.
This is a team effort. This is a team household. It is not your household. Everybody lives there. So don't be afraid. I mean, my kids are doing chores at the age of 2 or 3. Like get over it. They're all right. They'll be all right. And even like little things in the business, if they want to be part of that, have them be like, find something for them to do. The kids love being part of it, and they love seeing that you're growing too as a business owner. That it's really cool for a kid to see, mom or dad doing something cool on the side. So
absolutely.
Get them involved. Okay, cool. So where can people find you, Molly?
So mollyrosespeed.com, Molly Rose Speed on all social channels, just like it sounds, Molly with a Y. My outsourcing guide is mollyrosespeed.com/outsourcing guide. So that'll walk you through kind of starting to see all the things that you can get taken off of your plate. And I have you rank them from competent to incompetent to kind of start to do that. My virtual assistant academy is virtualassistantacademy.com. And if you're ever looking to hire someone, virtualassistantmanagement.com. And we love to help. We're a bunch of military spouses that love to serve in this way. So
I love it. I love it. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys so much. Molly, thank you. This was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. I feel like
I love saving time. It's like my favorite thing.
I feel like we were just having coffee. This was such a good banter.
Yeah, seriously.
I appreciate it.
I am having coffee. See?
Good.
I wish I was having coffee in Destin, Florida. But
yes. Come on down.
I will. All right. Well, thanks so much, Molly. I will let you know when this goes live.
Great.
Don't worry about it. And actually, I'm going to outsource that to let you know when it goes live.
Good.
But thank you so much for being here. And thank you guys for coming on today, too. I really appreciate everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody.
For being part of the conversation. Take care, everyone.
Bye.
That's a wrap for today's episode of The Savvy Scribe. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's show, we'd love for you to subscribe and leave a review on iTunes or your favorite podcast app. Until next time.